Welcome back, everybody. It's been a bit of a hiatus for the two of us.
2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a rough 2 weeks for us personally. So we are sorry for missing the uploads, but we've had a bit of a personal tragedy. We had a very sick dog, and then we unfortunately had to put her down. Her name is Maxie, and it hasn't been the same.
Yeah, if you listen to our podcast, you probably heard her moving around a lot because she liked to do that, or sitting on my chair, getting close to the mic as she possibly could. That's what she did. She wasn't sick for long.
No.
It went from she had surgery for cancer, which seemed to go really well, and we caught it really early, and then something happened with her breathing. We still to this day don't know.
Yeah.
If you saw on Twitter, we did talk about it, and, we had a GoFundMe because we were trying to save her for, I think, a full week. She was in the hospital.
She was in emergency care at the vet for about a week, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, so unfortunately, she didn't make it. We're still kind of dealing with it. It's
a process.
Yeah.
It's going to take us some time. I do want to say that there were more than a few listeners that were wonderfully supportive, and you know who you are.
Yeah, everybody who reached out, everybody who donated, or even just talked to us during this time, let us know that they cared. You don't know how much that meant during this time. We felt very isolated and me personally, she was my best friend.
Yeah.
Sat with her every day. So anyway, so that meant a lot to us, and I'm happy that we're doing a light movie this week.
Yes.
Next week will be a little bit less light, and I'm actually excited about that too, but this week it's going to be very light. There's probably not going to be a lot that we're going to go into that's too deep.
No.
So if you're looking for a deep, really
that's
movie
not the movie.
critique, that's not where we're at. So bear with us and look for something happy this week, and maybe this will be a movie you guys can check out, because it's brand new, right?
It's fairly new. It was brand new when we did it 2 weeks ago. Anyway, my name's Tyler.
My name's Shay.
And this is Cinematically Correct. And this week was your choice. Was it your choice or my choice? I don't even remember.
It was your choice.
It was my choice for you.
Yeah, we're all messed up on that at the moment, but and we did watch it back when we were supposed to record, so it's been a little bit of time. So if we miss out on details, that's why. So what was it?
Love Guaranteed.
Yep, it's a Netflix original movie.
Netflix movie with Rachel Lee Cook and Damon Wayans Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically about suing an online dating company.
You went right into that brief synopsis, huh?
Well, we're going to get to the brief synopsis in a moment.
Yeah.
First,
but you did have a beard, which you bought back then.
I did. It's been sitting in the fridge for 2 weeks.
It must be very refreshing.
It's at least cold.
Yeah.
And I say that at what time we're recording right now? 10 in the morning?
Yeah. So, here's to day drinking.
It's going to be Jack's Abbey Hoponius Union. It's a hoppy lager. I have not high hopes for it.
But it's cold, so...
It is cold. Yeah, that's actually really terrible.
Yeah?
I normally like Jack's Abbey. And it's in Framingham Brewery. But no, I don't like that one. Not at all.
I'm sorry.
I'll give it a solid 3.
Well,
so it's halfway between being undrinkable at 0 and actually enjoyable.
So if you guys like hoppy beer, you'd like it.
Probably.
Okay.
It definitely has a Christmas tree smell to it.
Oh, so seasonal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
anyway, okay. So do you want to give us a brief synopsis?
Brief synopsis.
Brief synopsis.
Rachel Lee Cook's character is a struggling, bleeding heart attorney.
Mm-hmm.
She does everything she can to fight for the little guy. She takes a case to sue an internet company about false advertising for dating. And she falls in love with her
client,
Damon Wayans Jr. And that's this movie.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. There's nothing else there.
Yeah. So this is a typical romantic comedy. We clicked on it mostly, for a few reasons, right? Rachel Lee Cook is from...
She's All That.
She's All That, which we did. I was trying to think of how many weeks ago
It's been a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Admittedly, everything feels like a lot longer ago, but
it might have very well been in 2020, but it feels like it was done 20 years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, we clicked on it for that. We also clicked on it for Damon Wayans because he's in New Girl. He's Coach. And you know, I love romantic comedies, and I do feel like in some ways we've kind of moved away from that in this world. Like, everything needs to be so, like, in depth and, like,
we're looking for dramas now rather than the lighthearted movies from the 90s and the early 2000s.
It's like we're Shrek and Onions and we need to have layers. Like, guys, let's enjoy a puff piece here and there. Like, I need some puff in my life.
Just give me some window dressing just to make a pretty face on the wall. Like, that, just get it up.
Yeah, like, I've got enough reality right now, you know what I'm saying? I need a puff piece. But anyway, so that's why we clicked on this, and it didn't disappoint in that respect.
It's exactly what we thought it was.
Exactly. So if you don't expect that to be the case, then, well, I don't know why you're looking at a romantic comedy. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so IMDb cast. Rachel Lee Cook, as we said, she's from She's All That. I did look through her filmography a little bit, and she has quite a bit of, like, stuff. Nothing I've seen, so apparently.
I mean, other than She's All That, I think she's most well known for the "This is your brain on drugs, destroying a kitchen" ad.
Oh, I don't know that.
So she puts an egg down and smacks it with a frying pan and then just starts trashing an entire kitchen.
Oh, well.
For the drugs are bad commercials from the 90s.
Well, since you said that, I've never heard of that before, so this could be totally unrelated, but it could also be related. So my Gilmore Girls reference is her. She was in a short on Funny or Die called, hold on, I have to go back. First Kiss with Rachel Lee Cook and Chad Michael Murray. And in that clip, in that, like, short, they are kissing the whole time, and they're trashing the kitchen, everything. I mean, to the point of, like, going through the wall to somebody else, like, trashing everything in their set. And then at the end, she says, like, I think we're going too fast. After they've, like, already had a baby, they've gotten married, all while kissing and trashing everything in their wake.
Well, she trashes the kitchen.
Yeah, so it might be a
reference to that?
Call back to that. You know how Funny or Die does that. So anyway, and if you guys don't know who Chad Michael Murray is, he was Tristan in Gilmore Girls. He was also in One Tree Hill, but the Gilmore Girls references, he was Tristan, which you have seen recent Gilmore Girls episodes, or recently seen Gilmore Girls episodes.
Yes, we have been watching Gilmore Girls as part of
Tristan.
The coping process. Yes. And I don't like Tristan.
Yeah, but now you know who he is, so now you can at least... But yeah. So,
understand your references when you make them, yeah?
Yeah. So we're getting there. Soon you will understand all of them. But
doubtful.
Very doubtful. Watch it too many times. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, so her character is a lawyer. She still plays the pretending to be a dork, but really a beautiful person. You really can't hide that kind of thing.
Right. It's the whole trope. She's got paint on her overalls and glasses. It's the same thing from She's All That again. Like, it's...
Right.
Come on. Just try a little bit hard. Like, a little bit of effort is all I'm asking.
Well, or just don't play the dork trope. Like, you could make her be a gorgeous lawyer. Like, that's fine. They exist. They do, I promise you. So, like, but it's still cute. You know? It's just... and it's who she is. I think she's a little person, right? Like, she's, like, my size, maybe? Like, 5'1",
probably.
5'2".
She's probably short. Yeah.
Yeah, she seems like... Then again, we're going to look it up after the thing, and she's going to be, like, 6'1". But, okay, so Damon Wayans. I know him as Coach, obviously. Like, that's what I think of right away.
I mean, he's part of the rather prolific Wayans family in terms of acting.
Yes.
So it's Damon Wayans Sr.,
is his father.
Sean and Marlon Wayans.
Right, which a lot of our generation would know from the movie White Chicks. Feel how you want to about that movie, but...
Scary Movie, I believe, is also...
I mean, the Wayans brothers, which I believe is Marlon and Sean, are very well known. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that. I think they even have their own production company under that name. Very well known. I did not realize that this was Damon Wayans Jr. and not Sr. because if you guys look up the photos, like, the same.
There's a family resemblance, but it's definitely Jr.
Yeah, there's no questioning who's related because, oh my goodness. But anyway, so... Damon Wayans Jr. seems to be the only one in this generation that we see that we could be wrong because they literally all
we're
look
100%
alike,
going to be wrong.
Very confusing. Like, they have very strong genes. Good for them. But he is Coach. That's what I know him from, and obviously he's in a lot of things. So anyway, he plays Nick Evans.
Yep, the guy who exploits the loophole in the dating 1,000 women to find true love.
Yes. Must have money because he's going on lots of dates and he's paying money for this lawyer that we know is a lot of money, so he's clearly well off. And we'll talk about all of that later.
I mean, 3,000 or 1,000 dates at $50 a pop is $50,000.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the finances here. Because, we have a boring financial man in our podcast.
Stop it.
But anyway, he's one of those guys that, at the beginning of the movie, they make him seem like he's horrible and he's
slick and this
is a slimy guy that you don't want anything to do with, but of course you're going to fall in love with him.
And
yeah, of course you are, right?
He's doing things for the right reasons and...
Right, because, would it be a rom-com if that wasn't the case?
Of course.
Plus, he's adorable. He plays the similar type of character as Coach. Coach is aggressive. He's competitive. He comes off as kind of gruff. He doesn't like Jess because she's weird, and then he becomes her protector, and he's, so you knew it was going that way. So, the rest of the characters, I don't need to bring anybody else up, but I'm certain you do because we haven't gotten to our Lord of the Rings reference, but who is it that you wanted to bring up?
It's Heather Graham, the next one.
Okay.
So Heather Graham is the founder of the dating app that they are suing.
Love Guaranteed.
Love Guaranteed.
She plays Tamara Taylor.
Yes.
Which, was that a Gwyneth Paltrow?
I don't know, probably.
It just felt very,
So Heather Graham was in From Hell with Ian Holm, who plays Bilbo Baggins, which we should do From Hell because it's got Johnny Depp and it's Jack the Ripper.
Oh, okay. So you're appealing to my love of Johnny Depp.
Well, and it's...
I thought you might be appealing to something else.
It's a thriller kind of...
But I've never seen it, but based on the things I have seen, she plays like a
working girl? Yes.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a good word I couldn't come up with. So I wasn't sure what you were appealing to there. That's what I was wondering. Yeah. But I'm glad you went with Johnny Depp. Thank you for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Everyone else doesn't really matter.
They do have cute supporting characters. They've got the hype man guy, her assistant, paralegal, whatever. He's hilarious. And then the really way too perky other assistant. I don't know if they're assistants or secretaries or what they are. They don't really clarify. But, they're adorable, but...
the only other person is the wise old man that gives dating advice to both of them. And
basically sets them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's adorable, too. But, again, they're all supporting characters that don't have...
any real time on the movie, and it's kind of to get them back together.
Right. It's to facilitate a meet cute.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, okay. So to start off, we do need to talk about the cinematography, which sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But we're going into fall, and we are New Englanders.
Yeah.
So for us, fall needs to be pretty and lots of colors and leaves, and this did not disappoint in that respect.
No, they killed it for that. They killed... at least from a camera placement...
aesthetic
aspect of the colors and how it was filmed, they did a very good job.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're not from New England and you're not used to seeing that all the time, that has to be a really awesome thing to see. Because, they filmed it really well. The colors really popped out. And I think it was meant to be set in Seattle. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Seattle.
Obviously it wasn't. It was filmed in Vancouver. But I've never been, but I've heard Seattle is gorgeous, especially this time of year. So it made me want to go there, even though, I can see that walking outside. But it still made me want to go there. You know what I mean? It just
it's a very similar to New England type vibe. So.
Yeah, but more water. Although we do also live on the coast, but you know what I mean.
The other ocean, yes. Yeah. There's two on either side of the country. Yes, dear.
But it looked so pretty, and I wanted to walk in a park with all the water, and I don't know. It gave me also Grey's Anatomy vibes, but that's also set in Seattle, which may also be filmed in Vancouver for all I know.
Probably.
So yeah. Anyway, but that's all I really wanted to say.
No, they did a very good job. I was pleasantly surprised with that part of the movie. there's not a whole lot to this movie other than the very simple story of suing a dating company and getting together, but it was pretty. It was pretty.
Okay.
It was well shot.
Okay, so we have to at least pretend like there are deep topics to talk about when it comes to this movie, because that's what we do here.
Yeah, this is gonna be a stretch.
Yeah. So anyway, so this movie is, for one, it's a law movie, which we'll go into the legality things, which is one of the reasons we liked it. But it also is supposed to be about a strong, independent woman. I mean, that rom-coms tend to be that way. That's just, I don't know. I guess women like to see themselves as powerful
career
people.
workaholic, where she doesn't have time for a relationship. She doesn't need the person in her life. Yeah.
Right. So you could see it through that perspective and feel like good for her, doing what she wants to do. The internet, however, always has other ideas. So because I always talk about the feminist aspect of movies, I wanted to bring this up. White knight syndrome. So for anybody who doesn't know what white knight syndrome is, it's basically when a movie or a book or anything like that brings in a character that has to basically save the damsel in distress. And in this movie, it does somewhat pop up because she is, I mean, first of all, the main things you see about her, she has a car that is falling apart, literally.
Right. She has no money.
Right. She has the tape player in her car will only play the Tiffany song over and over again. Like,
yes. I want to dance with somebody?
Yeah. I mean, mind-numbing if that's how you deal with things.
Well, that's straight out of How I Met Your Mother when they're broke college students and they have I Would Walk 500 Miles.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
For the entire road trip that they're on.
Right.
It's like, don't worry, it comes back around.
Yeah. So she's got that. You find out right away that she takes most of her cases pro bono. She's basically a bleeding heart civil litigator who really doesn't like to ask for money because
she fights for the little guy because she's trying to right the injustices and right the wrongs in society.
Right. So her law firm is in the crapper. They show like her people saying like, hey, we have bills to pay. Rent's going to be due. Like
they're having her resumes up on the screen where she corrects them because she feels guilty and is trying to help them find a new job and leave her.
Right. And they also show that she doesn't even own or even really technically rent her own place. It's subsidized by her brother-in-law.
Yeah.
So all of that to say that she needs to be, I'm going to put air quotes here, saved by a man, Damon Wayans, who comes in and somehow we'll talk about his money situation, but he has money and he gives her a check to get her to take his lawsuit, and we don't know how much it is, I don't think. But we know it's a good amount of money.
It's enough to buy a water cooler.
Yeah, it's enough for everybody to be like, oh, yes, we are finally back on track and, whatever. So, I mean, for me as a woman, does that bother me would be my first question, and I'll ask you afterwards because you're not a woman, I don't think. I mean, I don't...
Wow.
But, I mean, so for me, it's like... I wish that it wasn't that way, right? I wish that we didn't always have this whole man needing to come in and save the day. But at the same time, I do like the fact that she is always fighting for the little man. And I just wish maybe you could fight for the little man while also taking care of yourself. Because, you can do both, actually.
Well, you can, but at the same time, no one person is a monolith. No one person is going to have everything perfect in their life all the time. That's not reality.
Yeah, but it just, does a man have to come in and save the day? Is that how it has to go?
Does it have to be a man? No, but people have friends. People have family. People have...
Oh, I know. I mean, I cannot say much. I mean, when I've had hard times, who saves the day for me? My male friends. It's never been a female, ever. So, I mean, white knight syndrome is also a reflection of reality.
It's just everyone needs help from time to time, and it shouldn't matter that it's male, female, help is help. If you need the help, it's...
But I would like at some point to see a reverse. See a man who is, helping the little man, doing all those things, but needs a little help for himself because he's spent so much time thinking of others that he's not thinking of himself and needs a little help, and a female comes in. I can't think of a movie where that exists.
I mean, that'd be fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's not this movie.
I know. But, so, I mean, does it bother me? I mean, it didn't, but... The concept bothers me.
Okay.
So, but it didn't bother you?
No, not especially.
No. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so legal, right? So, yeah. I mean, you have a family of lawyers.
Yeah. Basically, my entire family is either already a practicing attorney or in law school currently.
Yeah. I wish I was a lawyer, but it'll never happen in my life. But so I am drawn to legal movies, and I think that's part of what drew me here. But there are a few things in this movie where you're kind of like, But...
She's a terrible lawyer. Objectively, I know very little about the law because I'm not an attorney. But my first thought, if you're suing a dating company, is to attack the foundation of their credibility.
Right,
which is the couple on all of their advertising, which is not an actual couple.
Clearly.
Like, they're models that were paid for a photo shoot. They're not actually together from the website.
Right. Now, I would assume that in general situations like that, they would have, like, under their advertisement, there would be fine print saying, like, these are representations of a real couple, but these people are not, right? And it looks like in this movie, they were supposed to show that they didn't do that. They were, I think at the end, she admits that she paid people to do this and she was hiding it. So, yes, they needed to subpoena that because you could kill their credibility.
You could kill their credibility right out of the gate. There's a reason that all of the big online dating testimonials are such a huge part of it. So the people that are married for 10 years from Match.com or any of the other ones, it's...
I mean, but we also know we are logical, rational human beings, and we do know that those are paid for too. There are probably some real ones mixed in there, but if you think that people do not pay for testimonials...
No, they cherry pick the people that actually use their site and found happiness, and they say, oh, we'll pay you to appear.
I'm sure they also pay people to embellish and...
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. But at least it's not just two random people off the sidewalk because they look nice.
Fair. I mean, I will also give a small anecdote just because we have plenty of time in this podcast. That if you don't know, if you're looking at Amazon reviews, they do. I'm in a lot of influencer groups, not because I'm an influencer, because I wish I was. But what they do is they will basically message you and tell you, hey, I will give you this product. And because in order to do a testimonial, you must pay for said product, what they'll do is they'll say, you pay for it and I will reimburse you to your PayPal account. All you have to do is leave a positive review. And you must agree to this before you receive the product. So a lot of Amazon reviews are manufactured that way. And that is not legal. And if people found out who the companies were, they would probably be shut down immediately. Yeah. It's against Amazon's terms of service, but it happens. And I assume that it's not just Amazon doing that, right? That's just where I've seen it. So that's all I'm saying about that. Do with that what you will. But
it's corporate malfeasance. It's...
Yeah. But do with that what you will. But just know that when you're looking at testimonials, there's more to it than the naked eye.
I mean, also, isn't there a rule about not dating your clients as part of, like, being an attorney?
Well, I mean, I guess she's her own attorney, so does she make her own rules?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are for fraternization.
I don't know if there are rules if you're your own attorney. I mean, I'm sure there's ethics, but I mean...
Well, yeah, attorneys have ethics. They can't do certain things. There's a whole system.
I don't know about can't and frowned upon. I feel separate. But anyway, the other thing that we were looking at the legal aspect of things is one of the reasons they thought they were going to lose the case is because they found out that she and Damon Wayans, or Nick Evans, was becoming a relationship, a thing. So halfway through the movie, once they realize that the other side is going to see that, they decide to stop dating to thwart that.
Which technically is misrepresenting the facts of the case in order to win, which is, I'm pretty sure, not allowed.
Well, I think the thing is that love was guaranteed, so they hadn't gotten that far yet. They had just started getting to the point where they knew they were going to fall in love, so they stopped it before it happened, right? Like, that's the...
So, it all comes down to the timeline. The timeline in this is critically important.
It's crucial.
So, Damon Wayans' character comes in before his 1,000th date, which is the cutoff.
Isn't it 100th?
No, it's 1,000th. 1,000 dates.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because it's not... Okay, yeah. You're right. Because he had like 989 or 998 something right before.
So she creates a Love Guaranteed profile while he is still not out of the woods on the number of dates.
Right.
So technically, they have met not as a result of the website, but they have met and they are both users.
Well, no. Technically, it is as a result of the website, but not through the website.
Right.
So that's semantics here, but important.
But regardless, they both have accounts and they have met because of the corporate entity that is Love Actually, or Love Guaranteed. Not Love Actually. Love Guaranteed. Different movie. Which, in my mind, wins the case for the company, Love Guaranteed, because they did meet, and under the letter of their agreement, you're falling in love with a person before your 1,000th date.
See here, this is where timeline matters. And now, a lot of you guys listening to this are going to be like, okay, this is semantics, but let me tell you, in law, semantics is everything.
Yeah.
So if you can put a shadow of a doubt on the situation, then the prosecution must prove that the doubt is not valid. It's on them, their burden of proof.
Well, that whole reason, that it being their responsibility to show that they're right in their prosecuting or complaint against the company, is why she freaks out and stops seeing him.
Right. But so what it comes down to is, yes, they both had profiles, but was she before the 1000th date, or was she 1001? Because if you remember in the movie, what happens is he has his 1000th date while they're in their thing, whatever, and then it stops midway through the date. He ends it to then start having dinner with her, and that is their technical first date. So that is technically 1001. However, which way do you look at this? Do you look at when you met the person, or do you look at when you had your official first date? Because it does say dates. So, I mean,
that's the crux of this issue, and there's no definitive answer either way.
Well, he has receipts time-stamped to prove which date was first.
But at the same time, they met well before that, and they both had profiles on the website well before that.
Okay, but we met well before we dated. So
That's
are you
fine.
going to count that when we met as when we started falling in love, or are you going to count when we actually...
In this circumstance, I think they would make a case for that, yes.
This is such semantics.
Yeah, which is...
But I mean, so I don't know, right? So I don't know. But
I mean, if I was a licensed and barred attorney and I was working for the company, I'd be like, yeah, you guys have a profile. You met before your 1000th date. Why are we here?
Well, my other question
away.
is, does her having a profile matter? Because what you're saying is that they didn't meet through the website, that they met as a result of, and they would have met as a result of whether or not she had a profile. So does that matter? Or was that just thrown in there because they wanted to kind of like solidify that?
I mean, what she should have done, which would have been a smarter thing, is to use a different online dating service.
Right, of course.
So that there's no conflict and there's no possible way, even if she did fall in love with her client, she didn't use the website, so go to hell.
Plus, I could have gotten a brand deal from like Match.com or something. Yeah. I mean, help fund the movie. I mean, come on, guys.
Exactly.
What are we doing here? But yeah, so anyway.
Plugs in movies are a huge thing these days. Like,
yeah.
Just pay for the cost of the movie with ad spots.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean...
Missed opportunity?
Yeah.
A little bit.
And then the final thing about the legal thing is when you are doing one of the largest cases of your life, and your client decides to, at the very end, drop the case publicly. I mean, how does that look as an attorney that doesn't really have the best reputation? I mean...
Well, I mean, that's just nothing you can do at that point. If your client does something stupid, we saw in How to Get Away with Murder, it's not your job to keep the client out of jail. It's your job to present your case, and if the client does something, it's on them.
True, but admittedly, I would have to say, although it was shown as a grand gesture, I think I would feel, at least as an attorney, like, are you kidding me? I could have had a great case that made me look really good, and then I could have gotten more clients out of that and all of these things, and instead, you just dropped it in front of everyone, made me look like I took on a case frivolously for love and fluff and whatever, and now my credibility is even more shot than it was before. So
yeah, and then the company has no cause to give you any money at that point. They do because they want to use your likenesses for their advertising, but they don't have to do anything.
Right. So, like, but couldn't you have kept your mouth shut? I mean...
Yeah. 10 more minutes?
I mean, let us lose and make the company look like a corporate company smashing little guys.
Yeah.
Instead of you just... What? That's all I'm saying. Okay, I think we've gotten through that. So we've been talking about the main characters, obviously, and people are complaining that there isn't a lot of chemistry between them, and that is important in a rom-com, so I feel like we should at least bring it up.
Well, chemistry can mean different things, though, can it? Because, I mean, there's obviously sexual chemistry, but there's also, like, normal chemistry. Like, you don't have to go straight from A to Z. You don't have to go straight to, I want to do unspeakable things in a dark, quiet room with you.
Oh, well then. Okay, Mr. Gray.
Yeah. But you can have, like, a nice rapport. You can have a friendship, and it's
Well, and some
fun and
marriages
light.
are that way. I mean, not everybody is 50 Shades of Grey. That's not real relationships.
That's my point. Chemistry is not always sexual chemistry. That's a part of it, but it's also not the only part of it.
And I mean, I wouldn't say they didn't have any sexual chemistry. I just think that wasn't the focus because it wasn't 50 Shades of Grey. It was a rom-com.
Right. To my understanding, most good relationships have other things before that. They have good chemistry with being friends and having a good rapport is more important than
if all you have is
attraction.
That you want to lay the person down, it's going to fade. I mean, I hate to tell you guys, but looks and all that stuff does not last.
That's my point.
Yeah, but so I mean, the complaint about that, I feel like people complain about that in almost every movie, even if it's not like romantic involved. It's chemistry of, as you said, rapport and all that stuff. And I also think everybody communicates and relates to people differently. So what you might see as chemistry might not be what I see as chemistry. Right. So I think it's such a hard thing. But for me, I felt like they had good chemistry. I enjoyed it. I
felt they had a lighthearted going back and forth at each other kind of thing, which is refreshing. And it's a nice kind of playful poking fun at each other. And
right. I mean, I don't know anybody that has that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
So.
No idea at all. No. Like that's not at all how we started dating. Not even a little bit.
No. Okay, so we got through that. Another thing that people have been talking about with this movie is that it's a commentary on online dating, albeit a delayed one.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so, I mean, what do you feel it's saying about online dating?
That you don't really understand how many weirdos are out there.
There are a lot of weirdos.
I mean, before, you knew that there were weird people in the world before the internet.
You're right.
But you didn't have it barrage you in the face so aggressively as you do now, because you see all kinds of horrible things when you look online.
Yeah.
And then all of these weird people that you go on a date with, like bringing your parents, no. Talking about a cat that you don't even own, no.
I mean, have you ever had any weird online dating experiences?
I mean, not like that, no. But it's, I mean, I've had an awkward experience with online dating, but it's just been, we don't really click as people.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking for the door, but I'm going to be polite and finish out the meal. But it's not like, oh my God, you're going to murder me and wear my face as a skin mask.
I mean, that is also the difference between men and women, right? I mean, you guys don't really think about that as much as a woman might. I mean, we all put safety protocols in place for that exact reason.
Well, that just doesn't come across my mind because, I mean, I'm a large person.
Yes, you are.
You're not going to be able to get me into a car if I don't want to go.
Yeah, see, me, on the other hand, you can put me over your shoulder. But so to me, I wasn't actually looking at it as a commentary on online dating until I read that, but more a commentary on finding love and the fact that it doesn't matter how many online dates you go on. Love is going to find you when it wants to find you, not when you've decided you feel like finding it. It's not a formulaic thing. You can't just read a few things about a person and match up everything in writing and then have it work.
No, I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, I think it's a commentary because on online dating, you put out the face that you want people to see, which is not actually who you are. It's just the lure to get people to sit down with you, in some cases.
That sounds very nefarious.
Like, he had to have picked all of those people that didn't mention any of those things as someone he wanted to date. I mean, he's not going to be like, the one that brings her parents. Yep, that one. Unless he's actively self-sabotaging, but...
That's fair. I mean, I'll just say from personal experience, I did a lot of online dating. And that's not how it worked out for me. So, I mean, all of my relationships were online for the most part. They became in person. I just mean they started online. And that even extends to friendships. I mean, some of my best friends are met online. One of our podcast friends that came on here multiple times, Joe, we met on Instagram. Not online dating or anything like that, but online. So, I mean, it's just love will find you where it wants to. You were not online. You were as a result of an online situation, but you were not online. I met you in person first. Yeah. So, love will find you where it wants to, not where you want to find it. That's kind of what I thought it was saying. But guess we all interpret things differently based on our own experience. Okay, so, I mean, I guess we have different opinions on that.
Yeah.
Shocker. Surprise.
Something new and different for us
Yeah.
is we disagree on something.
Yeah. Okay, so a big complaint of this movie was the writing. And, you know, I truthfully believe it's just people nitpicking because they wanted something deeper than they got, which, I mean, what are y'all clicking on the movie for? It's a rom-com. But whatever. But the biggest thing people said is it's no better than a Hallmark movie. So...
Well, yeah, but at the same time, that's what all rom-coms are. Like, that's just... It's a cookie-cutter... The same set of circumstances and everything. It just two people meet and they fall in love. Like you can't. There's only so much you can do with that. Like
and also, I know everyone likes to bash Hallmark movies, but you know what? If I need a lighthearted, happy movie, you best believe I'm gonna turn on a Hallmark movie. So
yeah, Paige and
bash
Alice
all you
Evans.
want. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm down for any of her movies. And honestly, like, we need to stop being so snobby about these types of things. Just because it's cookie cutter does not mean that it doesn't bring some kind of happiness. So
it fills a job that you're not looking for. You're asking to do something that it's not supposed to do.
Right.
If you're saying I want this to be Citizen Kane or The Godfather, you're come on. You're missing the point. You're missing the mark. And
some love stories, real love stories, if you wrote them down on paper, they would seem like the predictable rom-com that you
they
get.
seem formulaic and like, okay, I see where this is going.
Right.
And
because that's how things play out, and that's why these formulaic patterns exist. So,
yeah.
Chill, guys. But I did want to say that the writers of this movie were in fact Hallmark previous writers. So their names are Elizabeth Hackett and Hilary Gallinoy. Probably said it wrong. You're probably going to attack me for it. That's fine. They previously worked together on other things, but a Hallmark movie called Fur Crazy, which part of me wants to put it in our Christmas lineup just to kind of shut down the people.
No.
Well,
No.
I mean, we did have an audience request last year for a Hallmark movie, so I feel like, you know, we're just giving them what they want.
We did one already, the Christmas card.
Yes, but we love her. We love the person we met through that, and we also love the audience person, you know, Krista. Just saying. So I'm just saying, you know, if Krista came out and said she wanted us to do Fur Crazy, I wouldn't be against it. I just wanted to put that out there. So if it's not done, we know why. Just want you to know. Okay. So anyways.
Krista basically has carte blanche to do whatever she wants at this point.
Yes, we love her. She has become number one.
Yeah, it's not even a close race anymore.
I mean, she was always your number one, but we weren't very vocal about that. But
I mean, Ryan Terry was in the running up until recently, but
up until recently, what did he do?
No, Krista's just delightful.
Oh, it's like, that's just mean. He hasn't done anything wrong.
He hasn't done anything wrong. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying Krista has outdistanced the pack. She's Usain Bolt in this case. She's just way out in front.
Anyways, so, okay, the last thing that we have is there was some cute language things that happened that we both picked up on right away, and we were like, no way that's true. So you have some etymology there.
we picked it up because they say you got another think coming, and then vicious circle, which to me was like, it's friends. It's moot, Joey, moot.
Right.
Not mute.
Which both make sense, by the way. If anybody was curious, they both make sense.
They do. So I looked it up, and this is not part of the History Minute, although it could have been.
I mean, it's right next to the History Minute, so I mean, like, do with it what you will.
So vicious circle is the earlier of the two expressions, although they can be used interchangeably. So vicious circle, vicious cycle.
Now, you said a particular one that you've heard, and then I heard the other one, right?
Yeah, this is the one. So I have always used vicious cycle.
And I've always used vicious circle.
Which is...
I've never heard vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious circle.
No, it's a...
Because I always just pictured, like, moving around in a circle. Like, it just keeps going.
But this is a cycle. It goes back on itself.
But, like, we're from the same area. The fact that we have different ones just seems so odd.
So, same thing with another think coming or another thing coming. So another think is actually the original and is more semantically correct.
So that means basically like you're going to have to rethink that?
Go rethink it because you're wrong.
And you have another thing coming always to me was like, well, you're going to be shocked at what's about to hit you is how I picture
I'm
it.
about to hit you with the truth.
Yeah. And I've always heard you've got another thing coming, not think.
So for that, they theorize that it merged over the time. So think coming. They think that the K merged with the C. So it was another thing coming.
Oh, okay.
And so they turned that into another thing coming.
And they both make sense, again. So, weird, right? Like...
It is.
I don't know if I'll change what I say, though. I feel like another thing coming is just so ingrained in me.
I'm going to now say think coming to be a pretentious jerk.
Oh, something new and different for you.
Wow.
Oh, adorable.
You've got another think coming.
But anyway, I thought that was fun. Like, I enjoy those type of things. I mean, the English major in me just likes any kind of, like, little nuances, you know. But
yeah,
that's just what it is. But anyway, okay, so do you have a history minute?
Tyler's History Minute.
I have a few, although it's going to be admittedly sparse, which it always is for these types of movies, it seems, because there's nothing really there.
But you do what you do.
So first thing I wanted to talk about is in this movie, they're from Seattle, and they have a sports superstition where they light a candle anytime the Seahawks are playing.
Which we also have this superstition.
We do. We have a friend that will light candles anytime the Patriots are playing.
And when it's not lit.
Oh, they lose.
We always go, excuse me, why are those candles not lit?
Speaking of which, did we confirm with her that she...
Oh, I should actually send a message. You are right.
Because it was a differently scheduled game, because we got screwed, and we had to play Brian Hoyer.
I need to send a message to my group chat and be like, does anybody know if those candles were lit?
But sports superstitions are a huge thing, and they've been around for a long time. Playoff beards where you don't shave during the playoffs, wear the same underwear, socks.
Is that where No Shave November comes from? Because that's right around the time that sports are kicking
I don't know, but it's always been a thing. I've had teammates that wouldn't shave or wouldn't wash their jersey, which is really gross.
Like the jersey they played in?
Yeah.
Oh. And they still play in it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen how people sweat. And
they get crusty and gross. And
okay.
Teams have had to institute laundry washing policies because it was just bad.
I mean, I understand, like, if you're a fan watching it and not wanting to, because you're only wearing it, you know, if it's football, you're only wearing it one day a week. Even if it's baseball, you're really
and you're sitting on a couch, you're not actually running around in shoulder pads and a helmet.
Oh, yeah.
One of the weird ones is that the Detroit Red Wings, since 1952, have had octopi thrown on the ice.
I mean, like real ones or stuffed?
Original was real, I believe.
Like alive?
I think so. A dead octopus or a live octopus, something like that, yeah.
Oh, but wouldn't those be slimy and, like, get all over you? And
I'm more worried about it freezing to the ice. That's horrible.
Oh, and the smell. Oh.
So it was meant to represent the 8 wins they needed to win the Stanley Cup. And they did win the Stanley Cup, so that's happened since...
Can't you just get octagons or something? Like, do you need...
Or a stuffed octopus. That's fine. Like a plastic toy.
I mean, as long as I would say plush, so you're not hurting anyone if you're huzzing it. You know what I mean?
I think they probably sell, like, stuffed octopus or octopi in the stadium. They have to.
Right. Well, I mean, I hope so. And I hope that any sort of real octopi is banned from said stadiums.
There's the Madden curse, where if you are on the cover of Madden, something horrible is going to happen.
Or our curse that we did break, but in Boston, the curse of the Bambino. Yep,
the curse of the Bambino. One of my old football coaches still to this day will blame himself because he popped champagne directly before Bill Buckner going through the legs in '86. Yeah. So it's a pervasive part of things. The commercials where if it's stupid but it works, it's not stupid for a superstition. Like if it works, who cares?
Or we even have our own superstition that I am not allowed to buy you jerseys anymore.
Oh, no, you are not allowed to buy jerseys.
Because of superstition. Basically, every jersey I have purchased him since we started dating, the person, as soon as I purchased the jersey, is no longer on the team.
Yeah. So Malcolm Butler, Josh Gordon, the list, it's bad.
Yeah, we're not doing it anymore.
I mean, the owner of the Falcons went down to the field before the game was over, and they lost.
Oh, boy.
Superstition, like counting your chickens. Next thing, Chinese food was very prevalent in this.
Well, Chinese culture, actually. Yeah. They had like, I was going to say their own version of Chinatown, but it was just a Chinese-dominated neighborhood, I think.
Yeah, and her office was right next to a Chinese restaurant where she got all of her food forever. So Chinese food in this country originated in California, in the San Francisco area.
Okay, makes sense.
During the 1850s or so, 1849 to 1860, resulting from the California Gold Rush.
Was it the people that came for the California Gold Rush?
People came from China to California for the Gold Rush, and not long after that, they started opening restaurants to support the local mining communities, and they had a reputation of being the cleanest and the best food for the best prices. And so Chinese restaurants started sprouting up all over the place.
And it's now ingrained in our culture.
Yeah. Do want to note that it is interesting that chop suey is not a Chinese thing.
I mean, neither is any of Chinese food, but okay.
Chop suey literally means odds and ends, so it's leftovers.
Oh.
So it's just really confusing because you're saying, I want to have some chop suey. You're saying, I want leftovers. Yeah. And then lastly, there is a lawsuit that this movie is based off of where a gentleman, a Florida man, because it's always Florida man, sued Coors over false advertising for saying all of their beer is brewed with pure Rocky Mountain spring water when they no longer brew all of their beer in Colorado. So they brew everywhere, and he said that's misleading because it's not the same water.
Right, and I mean, so his name was Joaquin Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And the part of Coors was Molson Coors. And the reason he was upset about it is apparently, now you're a beer aficionado, so I guess you would know better, but apparently the type of water used for the beer is extremely important to aficionados.
Well, so it's going to lend a taste. I know water doesn't typically have a taste, but there's different minerals and the different parts of the water from different areas of the country or the world, which will give it a little bit of an accent.
Interesting. I mean, I definitely know like different bottled water is different, but that also has to do with what chemicals they put in. So
it's the reason that a lot of beer companies come out of Milwaukee because there's a really great source of water there. Same with Coors, Rocky Mountain spring water. I mean, I'm really surprised that there aren't more Maine breweries. There are several, but Maine is very well known for Poland Springs.
What it means to be from Maine. Sorry,
right.
Had to do it.
So it does play an important part of it, but there are other factors to it. And also, if you're treating the water and making it safe for human consumption, what does it matter? Because it's still drinkable.
Well, yes, but I mean, so I don't know if he won or lost. Do you?
I don't. I would have to imagine he probably lost because it's such a non-issue. I mean, all of the major brewing companies do this. So Anheuser-Busch, Coors, Miller, all of them have regional processing and brewing facilities so that they can ship it out because beer is heavy. It's all water.
Right.
It's the standard practice, so get over it.
Right. Now, I will say that I am a little bit of a nerd, and I decided to read the appeal that was written on... So what happened in the court case was that the judgment was summarily dismissed on the defense's request because of no foundation. And it was granted, but then the prosecution was doing an appeal, basically saying that they didn't give a good reason for why it was denied. And so a statement from the defense was basically saying, we're proud of the fact that we are from the Rockies, and while our operation has since moved, our slogan is talking about our origins, not necessarily about what we are doing currently. So we're not misleading, we're just proud of our origin.
That's like saying PBR is Pabst Blue Ribbon. They won a ribbon in the 1800s. Move on a little bit.
But it's semantics, right? So, I mean, semantics matter in court cases. So, I don't know how it ended up going after that. I don't have any information on that. But I would have to assume that, I mean, they didn't necessarily say that it's currently speaking now being taken from the Rockies. Right. They said that they're from the Rockies, which is true. So, anyway.
Yeah. So, that's what I got.
Well, I mean, it was something. I'm really proud of you for reaching.
It was definitely a reach.
Yeah. But next week is going to be different. So we do not have audience ask, and I did want to mention that, and that is entirely my fault. I mean, I would say that it's justifiable given everything going on. I honestly didn't even know if we were going to be recording this, and it was kind of an up in the air.
It was a touch and go kind of thing. It's been a process.
Yes, but moving on to ratings and reviews, so we can talk about next week, because we do have to discuss this with you guys, because we're going to need your help.
Reviews.
Rotten Tomatoes has it at 56.
Okay, but I mean, it's a rom-com. I don't expect...
Audience score of 34.
Oh.
So people really did not like this movie.
I wonder why. I mean, maybe some of the things I mentioned, right? But
I mean, it's complete fluff. There's no substance to this movie, but that's what you expect.
I wish that Rotten Tomatoes, and I know people are going to say, oh, okay, you're sexist, but I do wish that Rotten Tomatoes would give a breakdown of men versus women reviews on movies, because this movie obviously is slanted towards women, right? So if a majority of the reviews are men, then I don't necessarily believe them as much as...
Well, I would like Rotten Tomatoes, not necessarily for that, but to break down by category. So dramas, science fiction, fantasy, horror, like have different categories with different ratings, so that the rating is actually more meaningful within a genre, because then you know
but
it's coming from the people that like that style.
The thing that's hard with that, at least I feel, is people don't necessarily know what they're rating or looking for. I mean, we see that in my own job, right? People are supposed to be rating me on my service, but they rate me on the manufacturer of the clothing. Like, you know what you're supposed to do, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't follow.
They rate me for the company at my job.
Right. So I would like to see more breakdowns from Rotten Tomatoes themselves, where they are, separating out certain things so we could see how this goes.
This is a long-winded way of avoiding our ratings. So I'm going to say I'm going to be a little bit above. I'll give it a 6.5.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing really there. The cinematography was nice, and it was well shot and colorful. Wasn't impressed particularly by the dialogue or the acting. I mean, it was fine. But there's just nothing to dig into. There's no meat to the issues.
Okay. I was going to give it an 8. I wasn't looking for meat to the issues. I was looking for something that was going to make me happy, and that was going to kind of just give me a nice little, a little thing to kind of get through some not so great things in the world, and it gave me that. I did mark down a little bit for the whole white knight syndrome, because that I didn't notice it previously, but once I figured out that was the case, it kind of disappoints you, know. But other than that, I mean, it was what I expected it to be, so I'm not going to rate it based on Citizen Kane. I'm not going to, I'm not going to do that. So I'm rating it based on what I expected it to be, and it was what I expected it to be.
To use a sports quote, they are who we thought they were.
Right. Exactly. So that's how I'm rating. Anyway, okay. So next week. We are in spooky season, and I know that we are going to be a week off of spooky season because this is October.
Yeah.
So, that said, your choice, my choice, somebody's choice, my choice. It was my choice.
Is your choice because I chose this one for you, but you're choosing this one for me.
Yeah. So, we are going to do Psycho. But we are going to do our first ever, basically 2 movies in one. One, I'm doing that to make up for our missed week in spooky season, because we can't be missing a week. That's not okay. But also, you have not seen the remake, right? You've never seen the Vince Vaughn version.
Not that I can remember, no. I've seen the original, but not the remake.
Right, and it's been a while since you've seen the original.
Yeah, it's been probably 10 plus 15 years.
Yeah, so we're going to do both. We're going to do the Alfred Hitchcock original Psycho, probably black and white. I don't remember, but I think it is.
Yeah.
And then the Vince Vaughn remake. Now, I know the Vince Vaughn remake is very controversial, and you all have opinions. So what I'm going to ask is that if you guys have things you want us to talk about, whether it's comparing and contrasting, whether it's picking apart the remake, whether it's picking apart the original, whatever it is, send me emails, messages, tweets, whatever, and don't wait for my audience ask. We want as many as we can get, because I know everyone has opinions on these movies. Like, this is not a movie that you're going to say you haven't seen. Everyone has opinions. So, cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. Send me as much as you want. I don't care. We're going to devote a good amount of time to audience questions, because I missed it this week, and also y'all have opinions. I know this. I've done a paper on this in college. I've talked to a lot of people about this. Y'all have opinions. Yeah. So I'm ready for it. I'm excited. I love these movies. I own them, although I don't know if we still have them in the house, but we are going to look. But I'm excited. I'm excited to show you the Vince Vaughn version, and I'm excited for y'all to hate me for my opinions on the Vince Vaughn version. I'm here for it. So,
all right.
Okay, so anyways, you guys want to talk to us outside the podcast, I already gave us the email, but cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. We are both on Twitter. I'm at cinematicallyc. Tyler is Blame Tyler CC.
Tag her always.
Yeah, always tag me, but he does respond.
I will respond.
If I prompt him, he will respond. So make sure you do that. We're on all other platforms. You can find it through Cinematically, but find us on Twitter. That's your best bet. And I will be checking the email all week this week. I'm really hopeful that people give us some stuff because I'm excited about this movie. I really am. So, anyways, thank you to Jake at this music for our intro and outro music, and we will be back next week with both Psychos.
Yeah, thank you all for listening.